तव जलमहिमा निगमे ख्यातः नाहं जाने तव महिमानं पाहि कृपामयि मामज्ञानं देवी सुरेश्वरी भगवती गंगे।
ओम नमो भगवते श्री रमणाय। ओम नमो भगवते श्री मुक्ति कृष्णाय। Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada's Gangashtakam, the opening lyrics, sung by my husband's good student in Bhatiyar and joined by his bad student in Bhatiyar. He was like the Ganga. That's why I wanted this composition of his to be a two-line prayer today. Because he was very broad-minded. He was always flowing. He did not live in the past. He enjoyed the present like Narasimhachari did. And he always flowed to the future. He was always assimilating, and he was always very, very open-minded, taking in and growing. He didn't wear blinkers. His ears were always open. And from him flowed a music that was for the sake of the joy and ananda of music. I don't think he ever created wanting a name, wanting fame, wanting money. To him, the joy of the moment and the satisfaction, niraiva, that one receives every moment, that one is steeped in Sangeetam and Natyam, is what he cherished till his last breath. I find many youngsters here. Some of them may not even have seen my husband. My own students, some of them who are here have not seen him. Because 12 years, 13th year since we lost him. So for those who do not know the background, as Vasanta Lakshmi said, Narasimhachari, they both my colleagues. I know how difficult it is to dance with him, not just because of the spontaneity, but his jokes on stage. We all danced the Tilana together, and I had Dhananji and Nanna on one side and Narasimhachari on the other. One would joke and I would laugh, and the other would scold me. Why are you laughing if he cracks a joke? Your laughter is encouraging him to joke. But we used to have a lovely time together, really lovely time, such memories. Now, my husband, from another point of view, was a very, very holistic musician. Genetically, it's there in their genes. He is G.N. Balasubramaniam's sister's son, and totally discouraged from taking up music by the family because they only seemed to realize that there was a difficult side to the life of a musician. So he was pushed into chartered accountancy, but he kicked it all away when we got married and said, if you can get the ananda from dance, why should not I get ananda from Sangeetam? And overnight, he walked out of it. He had a background of Carnatic music. He was Kalyan Raman's student, Pichumani's student, my own mother-in-law's student, Trivandrum Arasmani's student. He had learnt Annamacharya Kritis from M.S. Mami herself, and Swati Tirunal Kritis from Shemangudi Mama and K.V. Narayanaswamy. A very rich Carnatic background. But he was also an LTCL from Trinity College London on the classic guitar. And he was a self-taught flamenco artist who was offered a scholarship to study in the Conservatoire of Paris. He was also deep into jazz. We both enjoyed jazz and hip hop as much as we enjoyed classical music. We both are sort of like mavericks in our own way. I think that's why we got on together. Because even, what he told me was, I think you and I will get on together very well, because before we got married, he said, நான் ஒரு பாட்டு பித்தன், நீ ஒரு நாட்டிய பித்து. So, two madcaps will get together and we'll have a very nice time. That is what our life was, coming together of Natyam and Sangeetam and enjoying every moment of it. So he had the Western, classical, flamenco and other contemporary forms background. Then he was Shiv Kumar Sharma's prime disciple on the santoor. And he brought gamaka to an instrument that was not created for gamaka. So he had a very strong background of Hindustani music, being a performer. Even as I had a background of Rabindra Sangeet and Rabindra Sangeet and Hindustani music from Kolkata, besides Carnatic music. And I think one of his greatest strengths was his background of film music. He was M.S. Vishwanathan's right-hand man. R.D. Burman, Lakshmikant Pyarelal used to fly him down. If they had certain scenes in mind, fly him down to Bombay for him to play in films. And the background music, when he was there, they never, welcome to Raghu, who knew my husband so well. And the background music, when he would come in, the music director would say, we are not telling you what to play, you just see the scene and play, create on the spot. And I think these four strengths coming together made him what he became as a music composer. As I said, bit of a maverick, so naturally thought out of the box, always thought of things which could not be done usually, but should be done, but could be done if you put your mind to it. Very unconventional sometimes in his approach, which is not always appreciated at that point in time, because when we make these statements, I think it's very important for the younger ones here to realize that whatever happens, any happening, any statement of a particular form or art form should always be studied in the context of the time, the period, the social climate, the musical climate, the Natya climate, everything around, because it's very easy to pass judgment, but study it in context of the background. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. At that point in time, so many things were not there in dance music, which they are there today. They have come to be. When did he first start composing music for dance? 1980 was my first mega production, Devi Ashtarasa Malika. And he used to tease me, "Ayyo, kashtam kudukkradhukku ashtarasatha kondu vandittiya." Another thing Narasimhachari and he shared in common is a lot of joking while working seriously. It's nice if you can make your heart light. It helps. Devi Ashtarasa Malika, based on Adi Shankarapada, Bhagavad Pada, Saundarya Lahari. We do not have good documentation. We do not have good recordings. Some of them are not even recorded. It's all in the memory bank of the human mind. And as one grows older, that memory bank starts emptying. And that's why I feel at this point in time, Ambika coming with this request that I document in this platform at least a few of I'll share a few clips, is, I think, very relevant. Thank you very much, Ambika and Rasa. Rasa thank panna, na eniye thank panikarappla irukku, but then it's very much a Tattvamasi concept finally. So, so when did he start composing? 1980. Devi Ashrasamalika. I will just share one raga from that, because at that time, 1980, Rasika Priya Mari ragangallam uttarame natyattukku edukkala. They did not even think of it. It was always, if I would give Sethuraman sir something to tune, it would be Husaini, Bhairavi, Kambodi, Todi, அப்படிதான் போயிட்டு இருக்கோம். அதே மாதிரி other composers இருந்தாலும் only later challenges like Neelambari for a Varna Bhatta taken up by Lalgudi Mama, though Swati Tirunal himself has taken one Neelambari, he has composed one Neelambari Varna. So, challenges, people taking up challenges, it's very easy to tread the path which has been trod already. For instance, if you tell me to compose an Anjali, automatically, it comes automatically, easily. Even while putting something to tune, certain ragas are naturally part of it. But then at that time, taking Rasika Priya was not a done thing. I will ask Uma to just sing the Pallavi, because I'm going on to another later Rasika Priya. I just want to put it on record that in 1980 he used Rasika Priya for yes, Natyam, and for showing Adbhuta. Adbhutathukku use pannar. For instance, Bibhatsathukku paadi use panninar Navarasathila, but idhula Adbhutakku Rasika Priya use pannar. And the Adbhutala, the lyrics are by H. Vaidyanathan, my Sanskrit and Tamil Acharya, and Alayar Kadal Nenjil Undiraya. The Pallavi matram paadu, then we'll go on to the next Rasika Priya.
Alayar Kadal Nenjam Undiraya, Amarargalin Bhayam Poki Andiraya, Alayar Kadal Nenjam Undiraya.
These vibra. And the Raghu recognizes my husband's touch in that. So, but then I'm talking about a raga which was not usually used in dance in that period. Later on, there was a festival in, it was curated by ITC. They used to have very interesting festivals. And in that festival, I was given the number 7. It was Swarna Sankhya, 1992. Swarna Sankhya, and in that I took different types of 7 and Sapti, 7 types of 7, and handled it. Amongst that, of course, talas, everything. I wanted to conclude it with a Tillana. We opened it with God as light, Surya Murti. And I wanted to conclude it as God as sound, and the concept of Natya Brahman, Nada Brahman, Para Brahman. So I kept behind him. It wasn't as though we could keep aside so much time for that production alone, because we were going around performing. And till the end, I never received this Pallavi that I was looking forward to. We just sat and discussed, and we, both of us, in the conversation, we said, Rasika Priyana and the years Sorama irukku, Sampurnama irukku, why not that? So he said, okay, let me think about it. So he thought and he thought and he thought, and we were traveling for other performances. And the previous day, we had a performance in Bangalore. And we used to travel by train those days only by train. So while coming back, I asked him, have you composed the Tilana? I'm thinking about it. So here I was beginning to naturally get a little tense. Now I wouldn't, because I think it's because by now I really knew his prowess and the way we could work together. He gave me the Pallavi in the morning. And as is the habit of most dancers, I kept saying, you keep singing it throughout the day, I keep internalizing it and become one with you. Then came, I've gone to get ready, I have to go to the stage and I have to end with this Tilana. And my musicians are asking me, enna korvelam panna porel, eppadi irukku portha? I said, enakku theriyadhu, paate theriyadhu, apra thane na panna poren. Then, I live in Alvarpet, next to Ethraj Kalyana Mandapam, and in those days, now it can take 10 minutes with traffic. But those days, it was 1.5 minutes to go to Naradagana Sabha. So in that 1.5 minutes, he gave me the Anupallavi, Charanam and Sahityam. And I went there and I told the musicians, I've got the Pallavi, Anupallavi, Sahityam, Charanam vandurtha. நான் மேடையில் ஆடுறேன், நீங்கள் பாட்டுக்கு ஃபாலோ பண்ணிட்டீங்கோ வாங்கோ. அண்ட் அப்போ பார்த்து தான் நம்மளுக்கு நிறைய ஐடியாஸும் வரும் இல்லையா, when you are doing it spontaneously. So this Tilana, Rasika Priya Tilana, why I want to share it with you is the first Tilana ever composed in Rasika Priya Ragam. And it is Raghu seconds that, and T.R. Subramaniam has put it on record as being the first Tilana in Rasika Priya Ragam. So and what was the Sahityam? Shajja Rishabha Gandhara Madhyama Panchama Daivata Nishada. Srudiyil, Laithu Swaratil Bhajit, Jatiyil Ulikum Nada Brahman. So finally it was Nada Brahman, Natya Brahman coming together in search of the Parabrahman, which is our life. That got reflected in the Sahitya, and it was not on a god. Appolla vandu deva illata devi irukkuda Sahitya irukum. But on something like the very soul of music. Now I will show a small clipping. Please excuse the recording quality. This Tilana has now become famous the world over because we've been doing it as part of our Anubhuti, and you will see the earlier small quick clipping of me doing it for the first ever time, and you will see a later maybe the Anupallavi and Charanam as a group as it came to be done later.